Trussville has new guidelines for school board appointments and where you can see Bonnie and Clyde in Leeds. Tribune Unscripted starts now. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. So welcome to Tribune Unscripted. I'm Brandon Dawkins with Tribune Digital Media, here with Scott Buttram, publisher of the Trussville Tribune. Lots to talk about today. The news is popping lately. Let's start. We've talked about this a lot lately, so we're not going to dwell on it for too long.
Okay.
But it is official. The council officially voted in Trussville new guidelines for school board appointments here. That's news here because it's always been news, and there's just always been a lot of different opinions about how it's done every time it's done. And so I think the council is hoping this time that they have found something that maybe will work and that can stay the same for a while.
I think that's the hope, and this council put a lot of time into this.
Yes.
About 12 weeks or so discussing it and planning for it. Kind of went in with that being a big issue facing the council.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it some during the political forums.
Yes.
But they kind of went in with a willingness to look. This has been a bear. Let's go ahead and try to tackle this right off the bat. That's tough when you've got 4 council people who are serving for the first time. So
let's highlight those changes quickly for people. I know Mayor Short was here last week. He talked about it extensively, but let's kind of bullet point.
It's an impressive plan. So what they've done, and this is we do need to mention. 5 years ago, they did put a plan in place, at least kind of a structure, and they kind of stuck with that for 5 years. They did tweak that some as it went. That's part of the process as well. They maintained that structure, of the way things are stepping. So they kept that, but then they tweaked the processes within each of the steps of the structure. For starters, the applicants will be reviewed by the entire council. All 5 council members will review all applications.
There's no committee that does it anymore.
That's right.
The council is the committee.
That's right. The council is now the committee that reviews all applications. I love that, because that's who the state constitution gives the authority to make these appointments. So I think that's a great decision on the council's part. They will score those applications based on a matrix. In our story, you can see the percentages applied, how it's weighted.
It's all broken down for people.
Right, so you can see exactly what they'll be seeing. Then the HR, the Human Resources Department, will take the scoring from the council people. They'll compile all that, and then they'll come back and tell the council people this is who your finalists were based on your scoring. Okay. And those finalists will then sit for a public interview in front of the full council, and each of the finalists will be asked the same questions. That they've got a very detailed plan here. Then they will vote on it, not that night, but at the next regularly scheduled council meeting. So that gives the councilors a chance to see it. It gives the public that comes a chance to see the interviews. And then it gives them some time to kind of deliberate and think about, maybe hear from the constituents.
Get some feedback.
Sure, and there'll be some. But ultimately, those public interviews, I think, give the entire community an opportunity to see who's applying, because your local school board is so important, and knowing where they stand and what their belief system is important these days. And so I think they've just really put a good, solid plan in place, and I congratulate them. I picked at them for it taking so long, but that's part of the process. And they did a great job, in my opinion, and I'm really pleased to see them start off this way.
Well, and the public interview part was a part that I had kind of gone back and forth about, but you had always been solidly for, and I think in the end that really is the right call. Because someone who's going to serve in that capacity, I think people have the right to know where they stand on particular issues.
Absolutely.
And you definitely have to be able to withstand that kind of pressure and heat, because that's just a high-profile role in any community.
Right.
So it definitely is here.
And look at where our schools are right now, and how valuable an asset that is to our community. It drives our home values. It drives so much more, and it has drawn wonderful people to our community. that are now our neighbors, and we want it to continue to
Absolutely.
draw high quality folks. So and here's the thing about the public interviews. This is an appointed position. The voters don't get to go make a decision on this, right? So that's a luxury they hand to the council. So the council needs to, and I think they are doing that in this case, they need to show the community that they are justified in having this responsibility by being as transparent as they possibly can. I think that's what our school board is now trying to do and has been trying to do since the time since when they hired Dr. Martin. I think that's what this new council and new mayor have at the forefront of their mind, is being as transparent to the community as they can be. And we should all appreciate that. It takes a little extra work.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate for them to be the committee because we elect them.
That's right.
And so, and then during political season, that does set you up to be able to question them real specifically about school-related topics, because you're putting them on the council and in the position to put those school board members in place. And like you said, it's set up like that in the state constitution for a reason. So anyway, I think all that's good.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Very, very proud of them. It took a lot of hard work, and they put a lot of work on themselves in fulfilling this process every year.
Yeah, they did.
They took a lot on themselves.
You're right.
So good on them. Good job.
In other important news this week in Trussville, or did this really come out? I'm trying to remember. Last week.
I think it came out Friday.
Was it Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, so a former Trussville police detective has been arrested on child sex abuse charges.
Right.
And Mayor Short quickly put out a statement about that because he is a former employee.
Right.
But really kind of got ahead of that with some good information. So there's a story on TrussvilleTribune.com about that. It's Anthony Martin, who was 42 of Pinson, who's officially been charged with those.
And had formerly lived in Trussville.
Right.
Just the investigation had gone on for a while, and this I think actually took place under former Chief Eric Rush. When it came to the attention of the police department, obviously they moved quickly on it. Aaliyah was also brought in, I believe, to also do an investigation, since it was a Trussville officer. Maybe they did the investigation. And it worked its way through the system, going, I believe, before a grand jury. And then his arrest, the grand jury returned indictments, and the arrest was made on Friday.
Right.
Actually, late Thursday night, he was probably picked up, booked into Jefferson County Jail just after midnight or Friday morning. We'll watch it as it goes through the system. We won't be able to get a lot of information from the police department. They are, and I think rightfully so, the city and the department are going to not make comments until it runs its course. The state is kind of notorious for not commenting, so we'll be waiting on preliminary hearings and things like that to see how it progresses.
And he was terminated back in July.
Yes, he was actually terminated by Chief Rush, is my understanding.
Okay.
So it just a terrible story. Nothing that we want to report, nothing that people want to hear, but we'll continue to follow it.
Okay. All right. Now, I also wanted to mention this. I thought this was a great story. I also thought it was great that they made time for this type of event, I guess, at the council meeting the other night. We're somebody who's been rescued, a victim of, health trauma. I don't know how else to say it. Somebody that had like a cardiac type event was able to come and kind of help recognize members of Trussville Fire and Rescue who saved his life recently. I think it was in November, as recently as November. And I had not noted his name. I was looking for his name here, but it's Mark Beasley.
Mark Beasley,
who had this cardiac arrest in his Trussville home. And I loved in the story where he referred to the fire and rescue crews like pit crew resuscitation. And that was just a really great.
Well, that was actually the chief.
Oh, was it Tim that
Tim
said
was
that?
Referring to that, and that's the actual name of what they did.
Okay, I thought he called it that. I was like, wow, that's really great.
He did, and it's it's got a different meaning for them than you and I might imagine.
Yeah.
But I thought the same thing. Pit crew is instant work, get them in, get them out type thing. So I don't know if there's a connection there, but I made the same connection in my mind when Tim said it. Listen, this was a great moment in the council meeting. and Tim, I've known about this for a while,
Okay.
but they kind of had to get everybody together for the recognition. Mr. Beasley was out for 40 minutes. They performed CPR on him for 40 minutes.
Wow.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
And we're able to bring him back, but and Tim made the point, not only is he recovered, he's back at work. But then Mark walked up, and so we got to see him, who had gone through all of this.
And you put in the story, or whoever wrote the story, noted that he was there, but he's healthy and there.
Yes, yeah, and he looked great,
Yeah.
and his sense of humor is intact. He thanked his family because his wife immediately started CPR, and she knew what to do. He thanked his son Grayson. Not just for going to get the neighbors, but going to get the right neighbors. He went and got the neighbors that had medical experience, who were there immediately, and they started performing CPR. And then our first responders got there and just stayed with it till they brought him back. And this is a young guy with a young, beautiful family. So this is the way you want to see it. This is the way we want to see it end.
Yeah, I was really touched by the whole thing, and I thought it was great that they took time out of the council meeting just to recognize everybody involved and gave him a chance to make comments himself, and I just really thought it was neat.
Well, and we got all those folks up there. We were able to recognize, or they were able to recognize, all of our first responders. Also, Captain Billy Jackson had some comments to make. If they ran a Trussville Fire Department popularity contest, he'd be a finalist right out the gate. Everybody loves Billy. But he's so proud of his folks, and just to see them up there getting recognition, I mean, saving lives is a big deal.
It is.
We kind of take them for granted, don't we?
It's the best story of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was too.
Absolutely. All right, let's turn to Centerpoint. Good news for them. We love to see things go their way in Centerpoint. They received a grant for over $42,000 for economic development. This is kind of a phase 2 for something that they had already started. They had received this grants from the National League of Cities, and previously they had received about $15,000 to start a coalition that planned for like youth employment and entrepreneurship program. And this is like a phase 2 to put an area in the library that will host job fairs and things like that.
Will that be ongoing, do you think?
It sounds like it to me. And so it sounds like it's just all centers around this young person's business type growth center.
We're seeing more of that. Mayor Woodfin in Birmingham announced yesterday that they're starting a program for youth there. And I think you're going to see more and more of this in cities, because the more active we keep our kids, the better off, you know. But good for Centerpoint.
No, I know, and I was looking for the exact name. They call it, they're going to create a community makerspace at the Centerpoint Public Library. And so like I mentioned, they'll host job fairs for youth with area businesses.
Good deal.
So I think, want to make sure that the young can have a place to work there.
That's right. Get them started. I mean, if you don't like the way young people are going, give them a different direction.
Absolutely.
A viable alternative. A lot of them will take it.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Irondale. So Irondale's been in the news lately because Mayor James Stewart made some comments about ICE. And it really kind of got blah everywhere. But then the Tribune and Mayor Stewart had a conversation that resulted in a really great story, just trying to clear some things up.
Well, Terry Scrimshire, who covers Irondale for us a lot, and Terry's actually filling in as our interim editor at the moment, and has done that several times, he reached out and said, all these news stories are out there accusing Irondale of being a sanctuary city, and it was really getting out of hand, because a story like that just kind of takes legs of its own, and or grows legs of its own and takes off. Going back to the original story, if you notice, a lot of things were conflated that didn't really have anything to do one with another, and there was no time. And I'm gonna start with something pretty simple here for our audience. You cannot be a sanctuary city if your police department follows all state and federal laws associated with immigration and with undocumented immigrants. The Irondale Police Department follows every one of those laws. Always have, always will. So for that reason alone, you cannot be a sanctuary city. Irondale never, and the mayor never claimed to be a sanctuary city.
Yeah, he didn't use that term.
No, he did not use that term. He didn't even address that. I read his newsletter, and while I don't agree with his assessments of ICE and the operations they've been doing, I understand where it came from because I watch all the news networks, and I'm telling you the story's very different depending on who you're watching. So I understood what he was saying was we're going to protect our community, our Hispanic community, and we're going to put them at ease. He was not saying we're going to fight ICE.
Right.
In fact, nothing could be further from the truth because Irondale police have worked with ICE repeatedly. As recently as just a few months ago, when they ran a sting operation with Covenant Rescue. Do you remember Jared Hudson, who is now running for the U.S. Senate?
Yes.
So Jared Hudson was part of that just a few months ago. During that sting operation, 2 undocumented immigrants were arrested. The Irondale Police Department does what they always do, which is when they arrest an undocumented immigrant, and that is they turn them both over to ICE. Jared Hudson, fully aware of that, now a U.S. Senate candidate, okay? But he did not hesitate to do interviews and social media criticizing what the Irondale mayor had said when he knew full well they were following all federal immigration laws. Probably our future governor, Tommy Tuberville, did the exact same thing. So did Catherine Robertson, who is an assistant attorney general running for attorney general. I think highly of all 3 of those people. But all 3 of those people went on social media criticizing Mayor Stewart, criticizing the city of Irondale, and none of them called Mayor Stewart or called the city of Irondale to get the facts of this. That bothers me.
Yeah,
and we're seeing too much of that from some of our elected officials.
Yeah, we do. Because everybody else can do that, but when you're in that role or this role, you need to make the phone call.
That's right.
I agree with you.
And all 3 of them, especially Senator Tuberville and Assistant Attorney General Robertson, they're running for offices where they're going to represent the entire state, not just people who voted for them, not just people who agree with them. And I don't like the idea of someone who's probably going to be our governor in all likelihood, attacking cities, attacking mayors without even having a conversation with them. That's not leadership, and that's not the way you get issues resolved. You get issues. Look at Donald Trump. He has one-on-one conversations with some of his biggest detractors, some of the biggest enemies I'm talking about in the world, and he goes and meets with them face to face, and things get resolved. That's the way you fix it, not by sitting on Twitter or taking pot shots at your mayors and your cities and your institutions and that stuff. That may be good red meat for folks, but that's not leadership.
Yeah, I feel like one of our biggest problems today is that people don't talk. We just respond to things.
That's exactly what the
media.
problem is.
And if people would just wait a second and have conversations before you have to tell everybody what you think, we might be better off.
It would
Nobody
be.
does that
We don't need our
so.
state leaders, and these have been leaders in our state, and will probably be leaders in the future. That's not the example we need them setting.
No.
We need them setting the highest standard, not the lowest common denominator.
Well,
we got enough of that in Alabama.
I was glad that Terry did the story for
Terry
the Tribune.
did a great job with it.
He did.
And I'll just say, if you want to know the truth about Irondale, the Trussville Tribune's got it. It's online. You can read it
there.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last thing before we take a break. So I had been following the story about the state championship rings at Clay Chalkville High School, and now Clay Pinson Chamber has stepped in to pay that $30-something thousand for those rings. And so glad that worked out. But to be honest with you, I see where the city's coming from too. I really saw both sides of that.
Well,
but you know whose voice has not been in this conversation? Is Jefferson County School Board.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
that's true, and that's where are they on this? I think that's a fair question.
That's the missing voice for me.
What Centerpoint or what Clay Chalkville?
Because they are a Jefferson County school.
They are. What Clay has done in the past is donate the money to the chamber to pay for the rings.
Right.
Okay, and that's not illegal. That's not illegal at all. and a community and
What
rewarding.
is it best use?
Well, I don't know.
I don't either.
It's I don't. Let me look at that a different way. These are a group of young men who just brought very, very positive attention to your
100%.
community at a school where academically, and I hate to say this, it breaks my heart to say this, we cover 8 high schools. Clay Chalkville is the lowest academically ranked high school that we cover.
Yeah.
There's good things going on there, but there's a lot of tough situations there as well. And these kids reached a level of excellence that only one team in 6A football reached. So I don't have a problem with it. If the city of Trussville did it for the boys track team, I wouldn't blink an eye.
No,
but there's another factor.
Maybe
The city of Trussville doesn't do it because we have a booster club that can do that.
That can do that.
If you look at the demographics of Clay Chalkville High School and the number of students, percentage of students even, on free and reduced lunch, that may not be a luxury that those parents could have taken care of. So I'm all for the chamber stepping in and just saying it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah,
we're going to pay
just
for
handle
it. So it doesn't matter.
But maybe in the
how
future,
city
maybe
does.
the city could put maybe Jefferson County needs to have a conversation with somebody about how that should work. I don't know. I just thought
given
it was
the number of
pretty
states,
absent voice.
Given the number of state championships Clay Chalkville has won in football, I would have a plan for the next one.
Yes, you're right.
There's probably going to be another one.
You're right. I agree with you
They're very,
completely.
very good
Probably
at winning.
need to have a plan.
They're good at winning state championships
Yes,
in football.
they
They're going
are.
to win some more.
They are.
But again, let me remind everybody, we've also got a mayor there who's been in office for 3 months. It takes a while to kind of figure things out.
And she's assessing everything.
Yeah, she is, and she had to do that,
Yeah.
and needs to do it going forward. Something else came up in this, and we're about to look into this that I found very disturbing, is that evidently before the last administration left, they made a 10-year commitment of $45,000 a year
I saw that.
to Clay Chalkville High School after they'd been voted out of office. Listen, I know those guys, I respect those guys, I like those guys. That's not the correct way to do that.
Yeah,
And
I
they
saw
knew
that
that. They knew that. And that puts the current mayor and the current city council, some of them may have voted for it, I don't know, but that puts future councils in a bit of a bind when you've pre-spent a substantial
It's
amount of
for
money
the
like that.
Jumbotron, is that what it's for?
I don't know what it was for,
Okay.
but that's not a good deal.
I
And
didn't think it was either.
that disappointed me because I do think highly of those folks. So that disappointed
Interesting
me.
to see.
We're going to find out more about that.
Okay, flip your paper over. I forgot we have one more story.
Do we?
Yes, before we get to break.
Okay,
So
I'm
Moody approved funds for an additional storm shelter in their community. That's the third one they're
That's
putting
the
in.
third one.
Holds 88 people. So anyway, I thought we needed to note that. It's going at the corner of, I guess you said Akmar Road and Colgate Road.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was interesting to note that they have put in 3. Obviously, they had a plan there. And good,
Good on them. I mean, look-
life-saving
Yes.
preventative measures.
We all know where we live, right?
Yes, you don't need them a lot, but when you need them, you need them.
You need them.
And so
And if you need them and they're not there,
I wanted to let
they're
people
done.
know that in case they had missed that.
I think that's a great deal that Moody has made this a priority, and as you said, third one. But fair warning to the mayor of Leeds and the city council over in Leeds, I noticed our Leeds readers here at the Tribune have taken note of Moody's third shelter.
Well, guess what? The mayor of Leeds is coming on next week. So
We'll be in the top Danny about that, and I'm sure they're aware of that. But I love watching our readers respond and their reactions on different stories. But I saw a couple of our Leeds readers go, "That's 3 for them." So, somebody needs to be building one in Leeds. So and we all watch each other, and that's kind of what I love about Tribune Land. We're all kind of watching each other and seeing what's going on.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to tell you all about Bonnie and Clyde. Stay with us. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay. Welcome back, everybody. Well, coming up, not this weekend, but the next 2 weekends, people have the opportunity to see a great show at the Leeds Art Council. It's Bonnie and Clyde. And before, we are going to interview the directors, who are Scott and Daphne Self. They're in the studio with us today. But before we get to that, they really do have a great promotional video out. And so we have it, and we wanted to let people see that.
We got the trailer?
Yeah, we got the trailer. Well, welcome back. So we want to bring into the conversation now Scott and Daphne Self. Thanks so much for joining us, y'all. We appreciate y'all being here. Okay. Well, as Ron gets the camera adjusted for you guys.
They'll join us in a second.
Yeah, they'll join us in just a second, but they're actually here. Let's talk about the video, the promotional video. It's really good. It's really fantastic. We love the sepia tones and the, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, they told us while we were watching it that Dan O'Rourke did it.
Yeah.
Dan's been on Tribune Unscripted several times. He's just got kind of an eye for that. Hey, guys, that's a lot of drama in that little clip.
It's a very high drama show.
Well, tell people about the show.
Sure. So it's obviously the story of Bonnie and Clyde, the infamous outlaws. It takes place in the 30s, the Dust Bowl, the Depression era, so you have a lot of themes of poverty, and you also have Bonnie and Clyde kind of looking for their time in the spotlight to be famous. You know, he wants to be famous in a very different way. She wants to be, you know, on TV or in movies, and he wants to be like Billy the Kid, you know, and the famous outlaw Al Capone. And,
Yeah.
Does, you know, in real life, Bonnie and Clyde, they took on kind of a celebrity status. I think, Scott, you were kind of touching on that a bit. Does the play touch on that?
Yeah, some.
Yeah, in fact, there's a scine where you go into rob the bank or a grocery store.
Right, and they're asked for their autograph.
Yeah.
Yes, it touches on that.
It does, definitely.
It takes some of the tension out of the scene, for
yeah.
sure.
That's interesting.
Well, tell us a little bit about who's starring in the show.
We have a couple of folks from the Montevallo Theater School. We've got our lead for Bonnie is from Montevallo. Her name's Libby Allred. Austin Lee is our Clyde. He's from this area, more or less, east of Birmingham. Who else?
Well, there's Rachel Boone.
Rachel Boone. JD, John Downing, is also, he's our Buck and our Blanche. Those are kind of the four leads, if you will.
The Barrow Gang.
The Barrow Gang,
Barrow
yeah,
Gang,
right. Have an ensemble of about 25
Right.
on top of that. So that includes, the folks in town, the bank tellers, those that
Family.
get shot by the Barrow gang, family. Yeah.
The clip we just saw, I mean, listen, I go to a lot of theater, and we see a lot of community theater, a lot of community plays. The special effects I'm seeing there,
Yeah.
you guys kind of went all out on that.
Yes, sir. So I'll take you back a little ways. We were in Bonnie and Clyde when it was done in Aniana at the Arts Council there in 2022, I think. And the young lady that helped with the special effects there has come to help us here as well. So we've got some, realistic gunshots, effects of being shot, and the look of having been shot. You name it. The kind of really realistic, very gritty. It's a very gritty show. It's like a word that keeps coming up a lot. It's very gritty. It's not a show. Your typical musical, I'll say it that
Right.
way. It's not like
Even
a bunch
if
of
you-
big group numbers. Yeah,
Even if you don't like musicals, you'll probably like this one.
this really is true. It's not real heavy on the big dance numbers and big
Right.
group numbers and high musical, what you think of when you think of a musical.
Right.
It's much more of a drama with
Story,
music
yeah. Mm-hmm.
thrown in. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you use the term gritty, and I think that's a great term. As I'm watching it, you mentioned it was the Bonnie and Clyde saga took place during the Depression in the 30s, pre-air conditioning. You could almost, as I saw some of those still shots, you could feel the sweatiness.
Yeah, the set looks great.
Just the way it's set up, and then
Speaking of sweat.
the costuming, and you're right. You can feel the grittiness of those times and
Yeah.
those days,
Right.
back before we had all the luxuries that we take for granted now.
So true.
Well, Daphne, tell people where to see the show, how to get tickets,
Right.
and the dates and times for us.
Yes, we open a week from today. We open next Friday on the 19th and Thursday. So sorry. Yes, Thursday. And you can get tickets at the Leeds Arts Council. They're $20, and that's it. Yeah.
So
Hope
and
you
it's
can
running-
come.
Y'all said 4 shows next weekend
Right.
and the following weekend, correct?
The last day is March 1st.
Yes.
Are you doing Sunday matinees?
Yes,
Correct,
2:30.
Okay. And all of those dates and times are on the Leeds Art Council website. Correct.
Yes.
You got it.
All right. Well, anything else you want to let people know about before we get away?
I would just say,
Set.
look forward to seeing the set. There's a lot of thought put into the set. It mimics a little bit of the Broadway version, where there's a lot of kind of raw wood and pallet wood, which is great because it's free and we're a small
Yeah.
community theater. So I use a lot of pallet wood in the scenes. Also, the car. If you are a car person, you can come just for the car. I spent
I
as
like the
much time
teaser.
on Bonnie and Clyde's car as probably the rest of the set combined.
Oh, I love it.
So-
The set really
yes.
stands out in the video, like you're talking about the raw wood background and all. It looks amazing. So, absolutely.
We look forward
Can I, if y'all don't want to answer this, don't
Please do.
answer it. Okay, I'm going to ask, but you don't have to answer. Is the car part of the big finish?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, we'll be there. I like shoot 'em ups. We'll be there.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all joining us, and of course, good luck with
Thanks
the show.
for having us.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at what is moving through the state legislature. Stay with us. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay retail price.
Ah, now this is the life. Who's a good boy? Well, to tell you the truth, it's my humans. They're the ones who made sure to buy me a home with natural gas. The furnace warms like no other. The fire turns on instantly. Whoa. And I'm happier than a beagle in a bacon factory. Oh, that's the spot. And with the money we save on our energy bill, well, I got big plans for that. Visit my website and learn why natural gas is a home's best friend.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, we want to spend just a little bit of time updating people on what's going on during the legislative session. You said it was going to be a boring session.
I was wrong.
And I think you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Said it was going to be boring. Let's start with the Public Service Commission. It looks like there's this effort to move it from an elected body to an appointed one. What does the Public Service Commission do? Remind people, why do we care?
They oversee our public utilities,
okay.
And then that's who regulates Alabama Power, and they can only regulate them to a point because there are also protections in the law for the Alabama Powers of the world.
Right.
So they're limited. Alabama's Public Service Commission has not done a very good job. Alabama pays some of the highest, or pays the highest electric rates in the Southeast. Okay, and that's because the Public Service Commission allowed that to happen. Okay. That actually comes back to the voters, because you and I elected those bozos to go up there and really lay over for the people they're supposed to be regulating. So let's start with us as voters. We need to do a lot better job at looking at who we're voting for. You get as mad as you want to about anybody about high electric rates, but the PSC, who was all elected by you, by me, are the ones who allowed that to happen. All right. That said, I don't think this bill's going anywhere. It is all three. There are three bills, and two of them are tied to data centers. One of them's tied to the PSC. The other two bills would put data centers, which are looking at Alabama now, under the PSC. Because there's some concerns there in terms of energy use and what it could do basically to the consumer market. All three of those bills passed the House. Two of those bills passed a House committee. Two of those bills were voted out of a Senate committee this morning. The bill to replace and repeal and turn this into an elected office did not pass the Senate committee this morning. They didn't even vote on it. Doesn't mean they won't do it tomorrow, but they did vote on it today, and it looks like it may be dying in the Senate right now. Okay. So the reason I brought all that up, I don't like the bill, okay? I understand the reasoning behind the bill, and that's what's more important to me than the bill itself. Georgia, the Democrats poured a lot, and I'm talking national money, into the Public Service Commission races in Georgia. And they got two Democrats elected. So the fear was that was about to happen in Alabama. There's reason to believe it was going to be attempted in Alabama. So the feeling was, well, let's just not make it elected anymore. It'll be appointed. First of all, Alabamians don't like that. Okay, they don't like to have their right to vote be taken away. Second of all, we don't know. We know who would be in that appointment process today. We're about to have an election. We don't know who would be in that those positions to make the appointments a year from now. Right. So you can't go forward. I'm just going to be completely honest and say, even given who's there now, and I won't call a name, but I would be very concerned about one of them. Okay, they acquiesce to a lot of special interest, and I don't want them appointing that. Period. Now, we may have a better person, or we may have the same person after the vote. The point I'm trying to get across here is there are good reasons that the legislature had to look at this. But that is best, if you don't like this, that's best cured by you and me and you and all of us becoming better voters. We sent Twinkle Cavanaugh to chair that commission over and over and over and over, and she rubber stamped almost every single thing Alabama Power ever asked for, and then we went and voted for her again and sent her back. So if your electric bill, if your rates, you don't like the fact that you've got the highest rates in the Southeast, it's your fault.
Well, okay. Okay, but
we got to take ownership.
Those are some of the races that just
I know it takes effort. How about that?
It does take well, and because you get there that day and you're like, oh, what is this for? I forgot to look.
Right, we all do it. We all do it.
So maybe we as a media need to think about that next political season and try to put out some.
We actually do.
Good information.
There's been a lot written.
That's a tough one.
Well, let me. There's been a lot written about, and Twinkle Kavanaugh is not on there right now. She resigned. She's off of it. But there was a lot written about her and the poor job she was doing in leadership at the PSC. Y'all, please hear me when I say this. That criticism came from media outlets that you probably don't look at because you don't like their political leanings. I get that. I kind of feel the same way. I'm probably in line with most of our audience. But if you don't listen to anything, you miss this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you open your power bill and go, how have I got the highest power bill in the Southeast?
Yeah.
Well, that's how. You got to listen to stuff you don't want to hear. You got to listen to people you don't agree with. Take what you can use, disregard the rest, but gain the knowledge so we can make better decisions. We all want our right to vote, and we all value our right to vote. You have to also value preparation for that vote and take the time and invest the time so that you make good votes. Then they wouldn't be trying to take your vote away, okay? If we had done a better job with the people we elected, then they wouldn't be doing this right now.
Okay.
I don't think it's going anywhere, but we need to get better.
Reminding us why we care about this.
Yeah.
Okay, which was my goal there. Okay. The House has passed a Child Predator Death Penalty Act.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just...
Well, that's, here's the thing. I understand it. I don't know how it will stand up
in the Senate
to court test. I think it's probably going to pass both houses.
Oh, you do?
I think it will become law. And I understand it. I mean, we just reported a horrible... So the Bibb County... Yeah, the Bibb County bunker story.
Was where I was looking. Our local CBS affiliate, who we partner with, WIAD, did a good story on it and noted that early in the story about this comes on the heels of an alleged sex trafficking ring discovered in Bibb County last year. So.
And now we've had a former detective in Trussville arrested. So, that kind of makes it a sobering thing. We are talking about the death penalty here. And it doesn't matter how I feel about the death penalty, which I'm actually not a supporter of the death penalty. But I think the vast majority of our state does believe in it, and I understand why they want it. I don't know what to think about it exactly.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. So,
but I certainly understand it.
Yeah.
Because we a lot of times we read stuff that we can't even report. Let's just be honest about it. And if the death penalty was ever created for anybody, I think some of these people is who it should be for. Well, so regardless of the fact of how I feel about it, I understand why they're looking at it. We'll have to see how it progresses.
Okay.
I expect it to pass.
Okay. All right. Nothing really official yet, right? But a little bit of a bubbling up of a gambling bill.
Yeah, well, can I back up a second? You said you jumped on me because I told you it was going to be a boring session. Here's why it's not a boring session, and here's why some of this stuff's a bad idea. The PSC bill popped up out of nowhere. Popped up. You can't do something like that. That should raise red flags. Why are they throwing it in at the last minute? These gambling bills coming out of nowhere. The first one that we've already heard last week, I got a clean lottery bill coming up. Then we read it, ain't nothing clean about it. It's dying. Now another, I think Philip Insler out of Montgomery is promising another clean lottery bill. First of all, nobody let any of the other legislators know this stuff was coming that we're aware of. If they did, they kept it quiet. But the reason it's not as boring as we expected is you've got several of these last second bills popping up. That's not good legislation. Okay. Legislators need to have time to study and look into these. They're only in session for a limited number of days. If I were a legislator, I wouldn't vote for any of this crap that comes rolling in at the last minute. That's just me.
Well, I wouldn't vote for this one. This next one, this is the last one we're going to talk about, I think. A Second Amendment sales tax holiday. I'm a thumbs down on that, and you can say that it's for hunting and sporting all you want to.
Well, they're calling it the Second Amendment. It's a load of
Yes. So it's now moving through the House that would create a holiday, a sales tax holiday for gun buyers. I did hear somebody else comment on this. I don't disagree with that. If you're going to do a sales tax holiday, maybe make it around items for gun safety, like items for storage.
How about we quit doing tax holidays for special interests?
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
I'm all for doing it for back to school.
Yeah, back to school, that's about it.
Families are on a budget. Give them a little break.
But
let them do that. But
this seems totally senseless to me. If you're buying a gun, I think you should have to pay taxes on it.
And listen, I own a bunch of guns. I like guns. I love my guns. I'm going to buy more guns. This is pandering. It is the lowest common denominator of legislation. It is the lowest common denominator of leadership. And y'all, we all know Alabama is better than our legislature does for us. We know that. Pandering to stuff like this, if your legislator is on that list, and by the way, the co-sponsors of this bill, the list is about this long. It runs as long as my arm. And it is a bunch of politicians pandering. Pull it up. Do we know the bill number? Because they Google this.
Yes, I have it. Hang on. Where'd it go? I got it.
Oh, we're going to get it for you. It's HB...
maybe I don't have it. I thought it was 360. Is it not 360?
I think it might be. I'm going to look it up and we'll check.
Yeah, I'll double check while you're venting.
So what I want you to do is look at the list of legislators that jumped in as co-sponsors on this. Remember, this started off as a tax break to buy
HB 360. That was right.
HB 360. HB 360, Alabama 2026. It'll pull the bill up. You can see all the co-sponsors.
You can.
This started out, okay, is we're going to do a tax holiday for outdoors. And it was going to be fishing and hunting and stuff like that.
And there's a list of sponsors.
Yeah, because they're all pandering. I see if our people on this. You see if you see Shell Nutter or Garrett, because we'll get on to them.
I'm looking.
And what they ended up doing was naming it the Second Amendment tax holiday. They are insulting your intelligence.
I do not see Garrett or Shellnut.
That is, I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. But find everybody on the list, get on social media, start harassing these bozos that are pretending to be legislators while they're just in Montgomery putting on a show for you. Tell them you're interested in them actually doing their job and stop doing all this clown business.
Right.
There's my rant. My rant.
That's what we think about that.
Bears and Council completely off the hook this week.
Well, although I hope, yes, I agree about the bills popping up. I'm always glad to talk about things coming through the legislature. I'm glad
you like seeing me go on a rant.
Yes. So anyway, all right. Well, that's everything we have for today. We will be back next week. Of course, we will have the mayor of Leeds, Eddie Moore, here next week. So we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, we hope you have a safe and wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.